right, let's just get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Hey, Trish, I want to say huge thank you for coming and joining me on this conversation. The conversation that I want to have is police brutality, police actions, and people's response and consequences. It's what blows my mind is not that police, there's evil people in police. There's evil people everywhere. That's not what blows my mind. That's not what makes me angry. What really makes me angry is the fact that nothing is done about the evil in the police departments. We're going to go over a couple of videos, and I put together some notes on what happened with these policemen after they did something that I think should be punishable. And the surprise, we're going to see what the punishments were.
Sure. Yeah.
The first video is it's a cop tackling 11-year-old because she took more milks than she was supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you seeing the same thing as I'm seeing?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's a principle on the left side. Then there's a little description here from now this. Keep in mind, this is an 11-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Would you expect someone that has mentality to protect and serve? When I say protect, I mean put their life on the line. When I say serve, I mean help the community, not help the government, help the community in any way they can. Would you say that this here is looking like someone has that mentality? Let's talk about, I'm not talking about their job, not their job description, but let's dive into the mentality. I recently watched a video about some serial killer in England, and they were doing psychological analysis on this person. They had criminal psychologists, and they were doing whole profile on this person. What is he thinking? Because before they knew who the guy was, like they had to have as much information about him as they could, and there was no evidence. So the only information that they had about him was from his actions, from the evil stuff that he was doing. So they drew psychological profile on him, and it was spot on. I mean, what if we were drawing a psychological profile on this guy? What would help me with the paintbrush here?
Well, first, let me say thank you, Dan, for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. On my podcast, we actually talk about things of this nature quite a lot. This is all coming, in my opinion, from a systemic thought process, from a systemic stereotypical mindset. So we know that there are things in place that are going to apply to people who are of African American descent that don't necessarily apply to people who aren't. And it's a mentality. I always try to explain to people that the people who thought that we weren't allowed, people of African descent weren't allowed to walk in the same sidewalk as others, those people are still alive. So
absolutely.
Those people are the people who are joining the forces. Those people are the ones who are running for government positions. Those people are those who are taking up the role of teachers, police officers.
Oh my God. You brought this very important point. I was actually going to talk about it like later on, but you brought it early. Hey, let's get into it.
Sorry, I jumped the gun playing the spade first.
No. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. So you're saying that those are the people that are joining the police force, the government institutions.
Or the children of them.
Exactly. They're going for positions of power. These are not just people that are going, oh, I got psychopathic tendencies. Let me just go become a garbage man. Let me just go become like, I don't know, like some low level or no authority or no power, no control over other people jobs. They go for jobs that give them unlimited control over people. The basic one is police, then military, city councils, mayors, judges, prosecutors, and then we could go to governors and so on. It's almost like the honey brings in the bees. The power that
Yeah.
brings it, like attracts these evildoers, just these people that have psychopathic tendencies. All right. And I'm not trying to be, out of proportion. I'm not
Sure.
trying to blow this up. I'm not trying to use some fancy words for like clickbait. I actually believe that these actions are psychopathic.
Oh,
That
for sure. Absolutely. But if you think about it, Dan, the concept of racism is based from a psychological platform. I
Mhm.
mean, and I don't think this is completely coming from a racial background. This is also mental health concerns that have not been addressed. Maybe some of these people did not have control in their homes. Maybe they're the product of an abusive family or
Mhm.
member, or, you know, so all these things come into play. But then they take these positions for power because it's a place that they did not have a voice in, and they exalt themselves. So
Exactly. It gives
yeah,
them a voice.
it
Oh
gives
my
them a voice
God.
and power
Yes.
that they didn't have before. And then on a counter product that you have people, children who are growing up, and this is just my little advocacy seat here. They're growing up in a society that teaches them not to respect authority, not to be apologetic, to have a voice. And those things are great. But when clashed up against a power that is not sound,
Mhm.
this is the type of stories you'll see. This is the type of things you're going to run into.
Absolutely. Now you mentioned racism, and I do believe that America has racists, but
Yes.
honestly, I don't, we probably are going to disagree on this one pretty heavily.
Mhm.
I think it's like maybe a couple of thousand people, or just like it's very, very minority groups, maybe like Aryan Brotherhood, like the prison gang, right? Or KKK. To be honest with you, I have never, ever, ever met like a racist. Ever. I never met
That's a
anybody from.
blessing. Oh, I just said that's a blessing.
Oh, yeah.
But you
Have
have
you
to
ever met
understand.
somebody from like Aryan Brotherhood, or like somebody with Nazi swastika, like somebody who's a Nazi with Nazi swastika, I guess,
Well,
or
you
what?
got to understand, Dan, a lot of the racism that we're going to experience in America is not going to be as blatant as it was 50 years ago. In fact, I feel like the racism has been watered down to stereotypic behavior, i.e., if you see a man walking across the street and his skin is dark,
Hmm.
then he's automatically suspicious. So it's not, oh, you're a Black person and I don't like you. It's more like, you're a Black student, and so you're more prone to violence at home. So let me treat you differently.
Hmm.
And those systemic platforms breed a racism that looks different from what it did 50 years ago,
Hmm.
but it's still there. In fact, it's more systematic. Sorry,
Hmm.
it's more
Yeah.
systematic into the very fibers of the institutions we must embark on, i.e., school. I don't feel like in this video, if this person were of a different race or
Hmm.
ethnic background, I don't feel like the reaction would have been the same. But I don't know that. But this is just my opinion.
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, I have never met anybody that's actually like racist ever. And
Yes.
I do meet people. I wouldn't consider myself, a hermit crab, but I think the evil, the psychopathic tendencies, the control over people,
Yes.
just that negative aspect of a human being, it just explodes in a position of power, like the police. So,
Absolutely.
um,
Yes.
I want to go over what actually happened to this cop.
Mhm.
So this is all right. This is his name is Zachary Christensen. All right.
Mhm.
He did not go to prison, did not have to pay any fines, was not fired, will still receive his pension and benefits that could be over $1 million. Keep
Yep.
in mind, cops in America get paid 100, 120, 150, 175, $200,000 a year. That's for you to drive around in an air-cooled police car with health benefits and every single other government benefits that you can possibly think of, and you get paid $150,000 a year for one of the most safest jobs. I love how people say, "Oh, so dangerous to be a policeman." Really? Have you seen how many roofers die? Have you seen how many lumberjacks die? Have you seen how many fishermen die? Have you seen how many? Do you want to take a look at police injuries versus construction injuries?
Well, I don't want to discount that. In my opinion, it is a dangerous job because and I look at it from a social experience aspect. If you've got music that's blasting, don't respect the police, and you're rolling up into a domestic situation. For me, I think that is a dangerous situation, especially because you've got people who do not respect the authority that policemen once stood for. So I do think it's a dangerous position. I do commend those who do it correctly. So
I do, if I might, with an opinion,
yes,
they are not authority.
You don't think?
Where did you get this idea that police have authority, power over you? The only power that they have is the gun. You remove the gun. Could you explain me how they have authority?
Well, it shouldn't be that the gun is the only sense of authority of, and as again, this is my experience. I feel like when people, in order for a society to work, there has to be an expectation, because the only power they have is what we give them,
Oh my God. So true.
Yeah. So if I see a cop who pulls me over and he says license and registration, there shouldn't be a whole, well, why did you pull me over? You didn't see all those other people going fast. It should be more of, here's my license, here's my registration. If I were speeding, let me take this repercussion.
Okay. Well, to that, even
it's like, no way.
we're going off to a completely different topic.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Like, we're doing, but what I like what's going on right now is we're doing fast. We're going from topic to topic fast. So we might actually get through all entire 3 or 4 videos.
Sure,
So my counterpoint to that would be, when police is asking you for registration and driver's license and insurance, did you know that you don't have to give them that? 4th and 5th Amendment protects you from that. Do you know what happens if you won't give them that? They will shoot you, they will murder you, or they will arrest you illegally. You don't have to give up. America, it's the funniest thing. American Constitution gives you the right, protects your rights. That'd be the correct way to say it. American Bill of Rights protects your rights from authoritarian, psychopathic, controlling criminal behavior. You don't have to give them your driver's license.
So while there is something in a constitution that would say you don't need to do that, there's also a million attorneys and prosecutors that will find a way to get around that very rule.
Exactly.
And so it's all about weighing what there are so many loopholes that are created. So to know the law, you also need to know those loopholes. And so I feel like, let's just, for an example, you lose your son is kidnapped, and you're putting up all these postal cards and you don't know where they are and you're really stressed out about it. And then one day a police officer pulls over someone, asks for license and registration, and finds out this person's in a stolen vehicle. And lo and behold, they're going to a home where your son is now being kept. And so at that point, you appreciate their presence. You know what I mean? You appreciate those minute pullovers.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
And I'm not a police officer, by the way.
No. I like that we're making that we are making counterpoints quickly. So we're not drawing this out. Are your rights and freedoms worth giving up over safety?
Oh God, Dan, that's heavy.
Ooh, I wish I came up with it. I think it was Jefferson or Thompson that came up. I think it was Jefferson that said that laws and freedoms are not worth. I mean, your freedom is not worth to give up over your safety. It's better to be in danger but free than save but slave.
I like that. I once read something similar. If you build a wall around yourself, not only do you keep people out, but you keep yourself in. So something like that.
Yes.
I can appreciate that. I think you have to consider what are your pros and cons, I don't think I'm unsafe right now. I feel like a lot of people don't do things that are criminal solely because of their personalities, who they are, because of their mental stability. However, there are people out there who would do things if there weren't certain restrictions in place that would cost them.
Oh God, I do not believe that.
You don't believe that?
Absolutely not. Let me give you 2 counterpoints.
Sure.
Is it illegal to rape?
Yeah. Yes,
okay.
I think so. Pretty sure.
Yeah. It's illegal. Do people rape?
It depends. That's a very gray area. You would hope it wouldn't be, but a man and a woman married in matrimony.
Yeah. It's People still rape. Is it illegal to steal? Yeah, people still steal. I don't, personally, I don't think law, I don't know a single time in the human history, again, that's going with my experiences and, experiences of others that I, read or watched interviews or whatever, going as far back as we can go, do not know of a single person who was stopped from doing an evil thing because there is a law. Oh no, I was going to murder 7 people today, but thank God, apparently
That's
it's illegal.
extreme. Well, that's an extreme example. A more realistic example would be I could use some extra money this paycheck, and I'm the accountant at this very prestigious bank, and it's against the law to commit fraudulence where checks are considered, and I don't want to go to jail. So the risk of going to jail and the risk of not getting this additional funds outweighs. You know what I mean? So that's more of a situation. If someone is going to murder someone, there's a stronger motive than that desire to be free. You know what I mean? So, and that's the way I would look at it.
I don't, again, I'm gonna, unfortunately on this one, I'm gonna have to, I can't really agree with you because it's just, if someone's gonna do something, the law will not stop them. The only thing that stops an evil person is physical restraint from a good person. Does that make sense? It's not even the fear of what's going to happen later, because when somebody wants to steal, rape, or murder, or, again, I'm going with the really obvious stuff, right?
Sure.
They're like, they already have justified in their head, how I'm going to get away with it. How am I going to get away with this murder?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I see what you mean. Yeah, I see what you mean. So you're saying the only thing that can stop that is the intervention of a good person.
Exactly.
Well, that's what the jail system and the penitentiary system was supposed to be. We're good cops.
After the person has already committed the evil deed.
That's true. And it's a faulty system. I won't deny that. But I like to think that if someone is, and again, outside of the extreme examples, if someone is a good person, but have been led by certain scenarios to do something that is outside the law, I like to think that freedom, which is that good person restraining them, comes into play. I like to think so. I don't know. But then it also goes into mental situations, because if I don't feel like I have anything to lose, you cannot threaten me with my life.
Oh my God. So true. So true.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are coming from, the lowest level of our society, right? The poorest people, the most uneducated people, what do they have to lose? Their shitty ass room that they rented in someone's shitty ass house in an absolutely garbage neighborhood. Oh no, what am I gonna do without my my cockroach infested room? Oh no.
I would say cockroaches. I hate cockroaches. I'd like to think that it doesn't matter where you are. I think one of the things that being in a free society offers is the aspiration to do better. So even if your life starts off, and as you say, one of the lowest areas of society, there's always that hope that you can get more, achieve more, be more.
Yeah.
And so I would say to someone in that situation, you've your life to lose. You've the opportunity to gain more to lose.
Yeah. Like there's a saying, hope keeps the gun down. what it means.
I've never heard that.
It means when person has hope, they're less likely to shoot themselves.
This is true. Hope is one of the stronger ideas, more so I think than love, because
oh my God, yeah.
People don't stay with people who are beating them because they love them so much. They stay because they think and hope that one day they will change their mind and become a different person. So.
Absolutely. Okay. Here I want to finish with Zachary here.
Yeah, I think it sucks that there's not a lot of repercussions when these people who we expect to be there for us go outside those lines. I think that there should be more of a consequence for those.
Oh my God, absolutely. And maybe I should mention this now, or I was saving it towards the end, towards the middle of the video. But my whole thing with this is I actually don't care if the government holds themselves accountable to themselves. I don't care if the judge finds this guy guilty or not. I don't care if the prosecutor find this guy, guilty, and gives him 3 years of probation, 3 years of probation, this guy can still go get a job as a cop again with a bunch of benefits, with amazing paycheck, or go get another job in some other government agency.
Yeah.
What really blows my mind, I don't think it's never the government's job to keep themselves good. Whose job is it to make sure that the government doesn't go evil?
The people, in my opinion.
Goddamn fucking right.
I think so. And but this is where we falter, Dan, so often, and not just in a police force, but in every aspect of life. We think politics, or when we're talking about Biden and Obama, but no, it's seeing that this kid is walking to school when there should be a bus route there, because there's a lot of children in this area. It's seeing it. There's so many potholes in this area that I need to look down when I'm walking, so it's politics is everywhere, but we don't get involved on that level until it becomes a huge thing. And people should hold the government. And I'm talking the mayor. I'm talking
God, yes.
the counselor of your school, the school board. These people should be held accountable and need to be held accountable by us, the people.
Well, okay. Two things. Number one,
I'm going all over the place. Sorry.
No. It's good, but I swear I got the points. I got them memorized. So number one, I never concern myself with the president, because what the president does not affect me. In reality, I know people are gonna be, but the president signs all sorts of laws and blah 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 blah. In reality, dude, not really. No, I made another video. It's getting worked on right now, but it was the difference between Trump and Biden. Do you feel a significant life change in your life with Biden versus Trump?
Well, I have an adverse opinion that I feel like.
I mean, no. Has your personal life been affected somehow, in positive or negative?
No. And again, I understand he's just taken office, so I don't think so. No, I think that the things that are going to happen well before there's a face to it. I don't feel like the presidents who sit in that chair have the majority of the overall decision. That's just my opinion. Exactly.
Things that affect us are on a city level.
Yes.
How many murders have police committed, right? How much money has the governor, has the mayor siphoned, off the taxpayers? That stuff that really matters. President to me is the last person I worry about. I honestly don't care who the president is. I don't care if it's a dancing monkey. What I care about is how is my money being spent by the governor, by the mayor. And my question, you mentioned potholes.
There's not a lot of people to hold them accountable.
There
are a lot of people, but there's not a lot of people who choose to hold them accountable.
Yeah, there is a lot of people in existence. Yeah.
When you send your child to school, every time your child goes to that school and sits down to breakfast, regardless or not, that school gets an income. But if that child is not there, if that child is not actually eating lunch because you're rushing them off or breakfast, you're taking the money, but that benefit is not serving. Exactly. And so I'm saying that to say, yes, we have to be more involved in our community on that, what might seem minute level, because before it gets up to here to the presidential candidacy, we need to focus on what's happening around the corner.
Absolutely. And with schools, I have a whole different approach to schools than anything else, because schools are actually many of the school and police departments are actually not designed for the benefit of the citizens. And
You're right.
Again, I don't like this word. Let's use people, because I just don't like, citizens, because not everybody is a citizen.
Yes.
Some people just are not officially a citizen. They just live here. So schools are designed to teach your kids, to indoctrinate your kids what the government wants them to know, so they are a good, obedient worker bee.
I wish I could say you were exaggerating, but you're so right. It's not for the student.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with you, Dan. You're absolutely right. Unfortunately, it is a money-making industry. It is a industry that is designed to line your children up inside of a box and pass them along the conveyor belt. And I can't hold the teachers accountable because they just work there. I cannot
It's
hold
their
the school
job.
systems. It's their
Exactly.
job. It's the job of the parents to get involved and
Well,
to ask questions and to
exactly.
ask those really difficult questions and then ask for proof. And unfortunately, we're sending our children to school with people who are very young and not yet really considered their mindsets
Mhm.
and asking them to shape our children.
Oh my
And so,
God.
but that's a whole nother conversation. Don't get me started on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, we're gonna get through the other 3 videos. I promise you. Here's the deal. Whose job is it to raise kids?
It's the parents' job.
Ooh, very good. Whose job is it to educate the kids?
I still think it's the parents' job.
Exactly. Whose job is it to educate them on what on morality? What is right and wrong.
I'm still going to go with the parents. And that's just how I feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With the school, there is an option, and the option is you take your kids out of the school and you teach them yourself. Oh no, I might have to actually do my parenting job. Holy shit.
Yes, it's true. But do you know, I think all that comes from the concept that money and wealth
Mhm.
should reign in power over community and parenting. Because if you're chasing a dollar, you don't have time to actually parent. And a lot of
Well,
these people are not teaching their children what the dollar means, but rather money is more important than being here with you.
here's the thing. Let's say you have an eight-hour job, right?
Mhm. Which most of us do, sure.
Yeah, most of us do.
Mhm.
Is there not 1 hour that a parent can take to teach their kids something? And if they're
Sure.
chasing money, right? Do you not have $500 a month to put your kid into like a small classroom with like a hired teacher, right? There's actually
Well,
communities where they do that. 30 people get together, 500
yeah.
bucks. That's $15,000, and that's enough to rent a place. That's enough to pay the teacher and buy the equipment. $15,000 a month.
Mhm.
That's like when teacher is making like 4 grand, 5 grand. Teachers make good money, and it's 6, 7. I mean, public teachers, public education, they make around 6, 7 thousand. But like especially early, like are we
Well,
100% sure that it requires a teacher to teach your kid how to
well,
read? Do you not know how to read?
you have to think about how society is designed. It's designed so that you want more, and it's designed to create a desire for more. And if I'm going to work for 8 hours a day, and I'm saying me, but I mean people in general,
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually very stressed at work. And so when I get home, I've got time to do it. Well, let's talk about priorities first. It's
Yeah,
definitely going to come into play here. And so I think that's a fantastic idea, but there must also be a concept of unity,
yeah,
because to have a community, you need unity. And a
absolutely.
lot of people are so focused on money and succeeding wealth and financially wise that they have not or discounted the fact of the development of the next community coming up, of the generations coming up
Yeah,
after us. And so, and I think also, like you said, let's not forget about how public school systems are a money making industry. So it's very difficult, to say, let's do this instead of this, because the government is going to make it very difficult for you to do that. Can it be done? Absolutely. But it comes back to priorities.
absolutely, absolutely. So, okay, second thing I want to talk about is I mentioned police departments are
Mhm,
very similar to schools, how they have government interests rather than the
mhm,
people's interests. With the
mhm.
with the police department or the policeman, as just one policeman, is not there to protect your rights. They are not there to protect you from criminals, from evildoers. I don't like the word criminals, because criminal is somebody that breaks the law.
Yes.
The law changes every day. You're innocent
Yes.
today, tomorrow you're a criminal. I
Yep.
mean, think about it, right? Today it's illegal to grow weed. Tomorrow the law changes, you're innocent. The next day after that, they change it again. Oh, you're a
Yes.
criminal again. So
That's driven by finance too. So as you said, it just,
exactly.
and this is what I concern myself with, because how can I as a parent teach my child to obey the law when I should probably be teaching them, ensure that if you break the law, you've got a great attorney who you've gone fishing with a couple of times before, because it's hard to navigate that. I tried to teach my son,
We have
be ready to.
laws. I'm sorry, but I got to
No, go ahead.
interrupt you on this one.
Yeah, yeah.
The reason that we have laws, right now is so government can make money, is so politicians can
Yes.
make money.
Yes.
It's so people in power, people with guns can make money. That's
Mhm.
it. That's the reason that we have laws, right? Why does America have more prisoners than any other countries? I mean, America has 25% of world's population in American prison. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's absolutely insane.
Well, I think that also speaks to the fact that we are a liberated country. And when I say liberated, I mean we have welcomed every belief, we've welcomed every lifestyle, we've welcomed every desire. And so you can't have that much liberty without some sense of chaos. And I know that's kind of like a far
No, I
left thought
understand.
process, but
I understand. Freedom gives you chaos. I understand that. I just don't agree. I don't know if you're making this assumption. I don't agree with our prisons are full of murderers and rapists
no,
and
it's not.
killers. They're full of idiots. Somebody that stole a car, or somebody that robbed a gas station, or stole someone's blah blah blah, or drug offenses. Like,
And they're
if
not
someone
being
is,
rehabilitated. I'm just saying it's called a rehabilitation center. It's not. They're
yeah,
not being rehabilitated.
exactly.
They're learning to escape the system.
Correctional facility. I'm sorry. What are you correcting? Because people learn how to do shit, how to do evil stuff in prison. I don't know a single person, maybe there is, that did not leave with more knowledge of how to do evil things before prison. I mean,
It's true.
hold on. What I'm trying to say is people learn how to do evil things in prison more
Yes.
than just on the street. Than just
Yeah.
it's not a correctional.
Institutionalized.
Yeah,
Yeah, they become very institutionalized.
it's an evil educational facility. That's what they do.
I never thought about that, but yes, it's true.
You gotta let's say you got a 30-year-old, right? He does some he steals a car, right? Instead of having a system where he would simply have to pay off that car, right? You steal a $20,000 car. Well, your punishment is you got to pay $40,000, right? Or you got to work that off. No. We're not gonna do that. Fuck the person whose property is damaged. Fuck you. We got to make sure the government.
That's what
makes
your
some
insurance
money.
is for.
Well, yes, there's insurance,
Yeah.
but we gotta have, like, some
No,
kind
no,
of.
no. I'm mocking the system.
Oh, yeah.
It's just,
Okay, okay.
you'll be fine. Go handle that civilly. This
Yeah,
is criminal.
it's your problem.
Let's get about 40 years of free labor out of this person, and then make them pay for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because what are these prisoners doing? They're working for free. They're not just sitting there, doing nothing, staring at the wall. These prisons make money. They make a lot of money. So that's guess that's my thing. Now I want to go back to people doing absolutely nothing about this case. So with this situation with Zachary Christensen, right? That girl that was thrown around, slammed around. Again, I'm not a scientist, but that looks like an assault to me. But what do I know about knowing stuff? What if a regular person did that? What if just a regular Joe Schmo came to school, took an 11-year-old girl and did that to her, and threw her around, and assaulted her? What would happen to him?
See, and that's where it becomes difficult, because if you're going to ask someone to be set apart and do the things that you and I wouldn't normally do, i.e., walk up to someone with a gun and take it from them, then you also.
What are you talking about? Who is this person you're talking about?
So I'm talking about, we as a society, what it should look like is an officer is prepared to do things to protect us that we wouldn't normally do for ourselves. And an example I used, walk up to someone, potentially take a gun from them.
They don't
risking
do that.
their life.
They do not.
They don't do that.
No, that's the thing. Listen. You have been brainwashed. Your brain has been propagandized. You have been brainwashed. Okay, and I'm not trying to be like. I'm not calling you like stupid. I'm not trying to say any of that. I'm in the same way. I often believe certain things, but then when somebody challenges me on it and I do my own research, I'm like, holy shit, that's actually not true. You know how in the movies cops chase the bad guy?
Yeah.
What happens in reality?
They don't do that. I know
They
that.
kill
But what
them.
I'm saying is,
there's a bad guy running. Bam, 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 bam. That's it. Look at.
you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if we say to each other, all right, so this person, John Doe, is going to become a police officer. And he's going to do things that you and I won't typically do, i.e. tease someone if they're, let's say they're taking a wallet or something. Does this always happen? No. But if you're going to say because you're in his uniform, you are set apart as a authority, someone of authority, what it should be, then we have to be able to make certain changes to how we expect them to behave. Then we would
already
expect.
have I disagree with that.
Okay.
I don't think there should be any changes to there shouldn't be anything changed. That's the problem. People always assume that we need to treat police differently. No, we need to treat them exactly the same. If a random guy walks to a school and slams an 11-year-old, what should have happened? Years.
Well, hopefully he would get arrested and there'd be some prison.
Exactly.
But see, you don't know what, and I hate to even say this because I know it's an 11-year-old, but let me just be honest with you, Dan. 11-year-olds do not look the same way they did when you and I were growing up. You said yes, sir,
agree.
no, ma'am.
I absolutely agree.
We didn't curse. We had a respect for just an adult. You don't need to have a blue uniform. You just needed to be older than us.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look that way these days.
Well,
and I'm not justifying what he's done.
She took extra milk. She's not a gunman. She's not a gangster. She's not over there. She's not out there beating people up, stabbing people with the pen. Okay. She thank God she hasn't learned that from prison system, how to stab people with the pen. Thank God.
Yeah.
Let's say she stole. To me, if you're taking 2 extra milks in school, what is that? I'm sorry. That's milk. You're not stealing a computer. You're just taking dude, you want 5 extra milks? Dude, who cares?
I don't think this guy was trained well in how to handle the situation, because I remember at some point in the video he's saying,
I disagree with that.
He's saying to someone, let me not say trained. I don't think he handled the situation correctly.
True.
Because at some point, one of the gentlemen behind us off camera is saying, okay, let's let her stand up. And he continues to touch her and engage her. So I definitely see an issue with that.
Absolutely.
You want to know who it is you're encountering. And would that behavior been probably more suited for someone who had just stolen guns out of a pawn shop and they're like 30 plus? Sure. Yeah. An 11-year-old, I think it was very excessive.
See, the reason I don't like word police training, it's the mentality. Could you tell me how many years of good training will fix a psychopath? How many years? Is it 20? Is it 50?
Well, a better screening would be better.
No. Okay. Maybe screening. Yes. Okay. Yeah, maybe again, I don't know what kind of I just can't think of off top of my mind how you would figure out if someone is psychopath. Maybe there's some kind of tests. Okay. But to me, it's simply individuals, people, the community holding this person responsible and acting on justice. Where was her family? Where were her dad? Maybe her dad is not in the picture. Maybe he's dead or whatever. Where are her relatives? Where is her family? Where's the church? Where's the community? Where's the neighborhood? Where's the city? Where are the people? The fucking people, not the government, the people. Where are they? Let's go back 1,000 years ago. Let's go back 100 years ago, 300 years ago. Somebody does something like this in a village. What will people do? Take action. They're not going to, I'm sorry.
Do you mean take action against the officer or the child, or be there for the child?
Take action for justice for the child.
Yeah, but justice 1,000 years ago meant someone's getting hanged. I'm just being real.
Well, I mean, if someone steals milk and they're getting hanged, I think that's a little excessive.
But this is the society that we grew up in. And just to be real, this is the society. You could steal a grape and be hung for it, depending on where you lived and who your audience was. But what I'm saying is, yes, this is a child, but you don't know the background of that scenario. We know media shows us what they want us to see.
Yeah.
Potentially, this girl was not just stealing milk, but she was also taking milk and selling it elsewhere. I'm not saying that's what she was doing.
I guess
that's very far-fetched.
I guess I just know this story a little more just because, I was actually researching it yesterday. Okay. She was not violent. All right. She was, when you see her outside, that's because she's leaving. She was actually
I understand why the parents weren't called first.
No, they were called. Her mom was actually on the way. She was actually leaving. There was there's a video, I guess. Let me show you. I'm
not sure why the police were called, and even at all.
There's police in schools. Like, why?
Oh, Dan, we got to be realistic though about where we are in these days. I mean, like I said, 11-year-olds do not look the same way they did 20, 40 years ago.
Okay, do they have machine guns growing out of their
Yes.
hands?
Yes, they're taking knives and guns and selling drugs because this
Okay.
is what they're now exposed to.
Okay.
And so it actually
Then
brings
why are
me
they in school? I'm confused. If so,
because this is where their parents can send them for 8 hours a day while
no,
they're doing other things.
why? Okay, imagine you're a school principal. You see a
Mhm,
kid selling drugs, right?
mhm.
It listen, what would you do? I just want to get your opinion before I give mine. What would you do? You see a kid selling drugs, what would you do?
Well, I probably try to get some background on that child first.
Hmm.
I.e., are they in foster care? Do they have parents in their home that care about them?
Hmm.
I would try to intervene, but I probably have a different outlook on that because I'm very community oriented.
Yeah,
I would
I
also
agree.
ensure that that does not bleed over to other students.
I agree. I agree. Find out where's the kid coming from. That's number one. You got to figure out where is he coming from.
Yes, you need the background.
Exactly. Then listen, dude, you can sell drugs anywhere else, not in my school. Does that make sense? If you're going to be
Okay.
selling drugs in my school, that's a no-go. I can't let you in. Does that make sense? I just want to make sure, like, no beef. You want to sell
But
drugs
you have to
anywhere else?
understand,
Huh?
if this child is selling drugs inside school, this means this is now their way of life. And the honor system of, okay, I'll sell drugs everywhere, but school no longer exists for them because this is a source of income for them.
I understand. Then you simply remove that student from the school. That's it.
How do you do that without a criminal record? How do you say to the state that this person is not able to be in school with other children? How do you prove that without giving that child a criminal record?
Well, the proof that he's selling drugs, I mean,
Mhm.
maybe he has drugs in his backpack or somebody caught him or it's on the camera. I don't know. There's like very different options for proof, you know? Okay,
Mhm.
let's say he dropped his backpack and there were like weed like baggies, right? That would be proof that he's like, you know, bringing and selling drugs and there's like a bunch of money and drugs here. So I would make an assumption that either he just found a bunch of money in drugs or he's selling money or he's
Yeah.
selling drugs for money. Does that
That
make
would be
sense?
the common, yeah, absolutely. And then so you take this child out of school, they go to some juvenile institution. They,
No need to. Again, my stance on drugs is kind of weird. I think people should be allowed to use drugs. If you
Mhm,
want to do whatever drugs, like you do you know?
mhm. Do
Uh,
you?
yeah. Like if you want to
Mhm.
smoke weed, go for it. You wanna shoot heroin, please do
But
it.
it's a criminal offense to sell drugs in that manner. And
I'm just saying,
so,
if I was the principal, I'm just pretending that I'm a principal.
mhm,
There's a 14-year-old right in my high school that's selling drugs, dude. Like, I'm not against you selling drugs. I don't give a shit what you do, as long as you're not hurting other people. Number one, and as long as you're not, selling drugs in my school, you can do whatever you want.
but why wouldn't you want him to sell drugs in your school?
Well, because after if I caught him and
Mhm.
if I catch him again, then he's not going to be coming to my school. Does that make sense? Like, what is it called?
Sure, it makes sense. But
Expulsion
what
or
I'm
something?
asking
Or
is, how will you justify removing this child from this school
because,
without the involvement of authority?
well, number one, I'm the principal. Number one.
I'm
Uh,
the man. Okay.
Hey, this is my high school. This is like my
Mhm.
thing. Number two, there's evidence that he was selling drugs. Does that make sense?
I think what I'm trying to what I'm trying to say to you, sure, you're the principal of that school, but you've got people that speak over you. And you've got a board to answer to. So how do you say to that parent, that child's mom or parent, this child is no longer allowed to come here? How do you
Well,
keep that?
I would do it before that. I'll be like, hey, Mrs. and Mr. Joe Johnsons, I caught your kid selling drugs in school. Just want to give you a heads up. If I catch him again, he will be removed from my school. He can go to any other school. It's just not mine. Does that make sense? I just want to make sure we're all cool. Just want to make sure.
The concept makes a whole lot of sense. Do I see this playing out realistically? No,
I
because
just
parents are very aggressive. That wasn't my chance. You don't know this for sure. How do you know this? What is the proof?
Well,
You know,
again, that would be me having proof. That would be me having proof.
there are some parents you can bring the bag of drugs and show them the needle prints in their son, and nope, not mine.
Well,
My son's an angel.
I understand. That phone call wouldn't be, or the parents coming to school. It wouldn't be, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, do I have your permission to expel your kid? No, it would be more of a, hey, number one, your kid is selling drugs. Number two, this is the evidence. Number three, this is what's going to happen next. If this happens again and your son will be kicked out. I just want you to understand why it happened.
But
And
you know
if
that
you
all has to
disagree
be
with that, that's
documented,
totally
right?
cool.
You know, all this has to be documented. And so what I'm saying to you is
Yeah.
once this child is documented as having sold drugs in his school, he can't go to any school he wants to. He's now going to a special school or a school with a higher alert around him because now he's committed an offense. You've
Mhm.
documented it because you have to.
Mhm.
You've told the parents, and let's say he's at the point where now he has been suspended. He's
Mhm.
going to a different school, and this has already put him, not just you, or not your actions, but he's already on the road to prison, if you will,
Well,
with those actions.
I
And it's
think
not your fault.
no, no, no,
I'm
no,
not
no.
saying,
No,
but
no, no, no. I understand what you're saying. I will have to disagree with you on that one because he's not already on the road to prison. I disagree with it 100%. He was
Okay.
on the road to prison years ago.
I agree.
Years ago, when
Mhm.
when parents failed to educate the kids and they let school educate them. Well,
I'm with you.
what kind of education did you get about drugs in school?
I'm with you 100%.
The education you get is they feel
Mhm.
great and you make money. And
Mhm.
which part of these two is the downside?
You're right. It's a warped system. And unfortunately, you know, if we want to see a different outcome, we've got to stop polarizing ourselves. Now, right
Yeah.
now, it's the poor people who do bad and the highly esteemed rich people who do well. And
Mhm.
this is the grade in which you're given. Either you fail or you're succeeding. And the two don't coexist, they think. They don't believe that the two are responsible for each other. It's a warped
Yeah,
system, I think.
it's an interesting social dynamic that we have.
Mhm.
But to me, is just I personally, I think if you're a parent and you actually like your kid, I know everybody loves their little kiddo, but
Well,
there's
not
a difference.
everyone.
Well, okay, not everyone, not everyone.
There's an
You're right.
asterisk.
Yeah, not everyone. Majority of people. Oh, yeah, I love you so much. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
just thinking about your typical mom. I guess
Okay.
the soccer mom.
Mhm. The soccer mom.
Yeah. But in reality, there's a difference between you saying you love them and you actually liking them. Hey, you know what? I like you enough as a person to actually teach you about life and educate you myself. I'll take that responsibility. You know what? It's like when somebody cooks for you, right? Yeah, I understand they love you, but they actually like you enough to cook for you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like that kind of relationship. I think parents, instead of complaining how school is so bad, take your kid out of the school. Do they not know how to use internet? You gotta, like, the fact that you haven't educated your kid that, hey, listen, life is not about you getting good grades. Life is about you doing awesome things, kick ass things. Like, are there kick ass things you want to do in life? And I understand it's a pretty deep question, for a fucking kid. Most adults are just, working workhorses, just zombified humans going to work.
Fine humans. Well, Dan, you have to understand, and I'm not saying that these things are not possible. So please hear me when I say that. But
Yeah,
I also want you to consider a lot of the parental homes that we're experiencing in today's society are single one income families.
yeah,
And often the parents are children themselves, either 16, 17, still trying to become an adult themselves and also trying to raise a child. So it's kind of hard to sit an 8-year-old in front of a screen all day and say, hey, do your
you don't
job.
have
And
to. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's when I mentioned doing cool things in life.
Mhm.
Listen, if you know nothing about physics, if you know nothing about chemistry, I think you can still make a whole lot of money. I think you can still
Yeah,
have a great life.
very true.
People assume that, oh, but I don't know nothing about physics. I can't teach my children physics. Really? Do you think Jake Paul knows a lot about chemistry,
Hmm.
American history, sciences, just biology? No. The guy is making what, 20, 30, $50 million a year?
Mhm.
So,
I always tell my son it's not about the exams you pass, but it is about the studying that you do. And so I always tell him you need to focus on what you're learning more
Mhm.
so what tests you can pass.
Exactly,
So
exactly. I love how you mentioned the schools are simply a conveyor for future workers. It's just a conveyor.
gosh, it sounds so awful, but it's true.
It is true, I mean, okay, I want to go into education because we could go into that one.
We
Look
could
at, like,
definitely go
you
into
know
that.
what? We should do this. We should do this more often.
Come on down. Come on down, Dan. You know we love you. You know
Oh,
we absolutely love to
yes.
dialogue and banter with
Okay,
you.
I don't know how, but we're gonna figure out how to do this more often. Okay.
Okay.
So my whole thing, we're almost done with the first video. I want to say, like, one last thing is people didn't do anything. Is it sad that this girl was assaulted? Yes, it's very sad. What the tragedy, the devastation is that nobody from community did anything.
Yeah, I
The
agree.
the second video here is let's take a look. Let's take a look at here. Okay. This cop gets the kid. I mean, that kid weighs like 2 gallons of milk. Okay, he what is it, like 25 pounds? You know, look at him. He drops him. He picks him up and slams him again, head down first. You see the same stuff, right?
This person clearly has some psychological issues that they have not managed. They need help. There's no other explanation behind it.
Yes,
to think that that's justified. No,
they need help. That is absolutely true. His name is Warren Durham. He was placed on paid leave as a punishment. His boss, that cop's boss, saw this and said, hey, you know what, Warren, I don't know what's going on. We're gonna have to investigate this. The punishment for you for now is you're getting money for not working. That's the punishment.
Stay home. Relax.
Are you serious? How? What if? Imagine that you are like a general manager at Walmart, and one of your employees does this. What would you do? You call him into your office. What are you doing?
You would be fired into further investigation. And if there's any investigation that needs to happen, it will happen after your position is terminated.
Exactly.
For me.
Exactly.
And then there would seriously be some jail time discussed.
Exactly. And you wouldn't be the one who be just, it's not you. Walmart doesn't put people in jail. The police does. So you would fire them, and I would fire them also. I would fire them because the person is evil. I don't care if the police say, you know what, actually, it's okay to throw around kids. It's totally fine. I wouldn't want that at my fucking Walmart. Does that make sense?
I agree.
He was placed on a paid leave as punishment instead of being immediately terminated. Did not pay any fines. Later on, he was fired. I mean, did not pay any fines. He was fired later on. Jesus Christ.
That's very sad.
Well, what the reason he was fired is because of the public backlash. Do you think he was fired because the public backlash? Because of the public perception, or because his boss decided he was a bad person? Which one do you think it was?
Oh, for sure, the former. He's bad business.
The public
business.
So you think the public backlash? That's the reason.
Yes,
I agree.
Yes.
The reason I say that is because he wasn't fired immediately.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So what you're saying is, Mr. Policeman, who the chief or whoever is the boss over there.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is we need a crowd of people that give a shit, that are willing to sacrifice their energy, their time, their money.
And that comes down to money.
Exactly.
We're losing money because people don't like the image that this is presenting.
Exactly.
It's sad. Really sad.
He will receive his pension with benefits that could be over $1 million.
It's sad.
He can still get a job as a cop in another department. That's what they do. I live in Florida. All the pieces of shit cops, they flow down to Florida. It's Florida and Georgia, actually. It's absolutely insane. I mean, you could be raping 12 fucking people as a cop. You could be speeding. You have a bunch of violations, crash your car a whole bunch of times, kill a bunch of people. The Florida welcomes you. Come on over. Floridians, they're not going to like this. Especially if somebody watching, they got no fucking balls. I mean, we could have like Jack the Reaper apply for a cop job. Oh, we'll hire you. That's okay. I'm sorry. You killed how many people? Only 17. Oh, you're perfect. We got a guy with 30 murders over there.
It's sad that this is a topic that is had, but and even said with comedy, it is sad because there are a lot of families who are being affected by these situations, and that
Yeah,
poor child,
yeah,
these are going to be traumatic experiences that they'll probably carry for the rest of their lives, or their lives, you know what I mean? And they may decide to become more like this person or go the other way, but it's definitely going to impact who they become.
absolutely. The thing that I want to mention here is again the same thing. Why aren't people up in arms? You know what kind of punishment this guy got? 55 in prison for that. 55 days in prison.
Yeah,
55
that's
days in
sad.
prison for that. Are you shitting me? Two drunk idiots fighting in a bar will get a couple of years in prison. You're telling me, you are telling me that an adult slamming a kid gets 55 days in prison? If this is not institutional government corruption, I don't know what is. Like
Yeah.
this isn't one little, this one little teeny tiny instance, it just happened. Everybody's up in arms. No, nobody's up in arms because it happens all the time because it's institutionalized. And the biggest problem is that people, to me, I was really debating the thing that I really thought to myself about when I was inviting you to this, and that this thought is still here. I'm gonna keep doing this, and then we'll see what happens. The
Okay.
thought that really, really, really bothers me very deep is, why am I the only one that gives a damn? A foreigner. Why aren't Americans standing up? Why aren't Americans holding policemen, governors, mayors, not a president? We're not going all the way to the president. City council. Why is nobody doing that? How many Americans do you think, just regular people, right? Regular taxpayers, how many of them went through the money that city spends? To me, I'm very confused. How did we go from kids should be wearing helmets on a bicycle and they shouldn't be, climbing trees and jumping all around because they might hurt themselves, to, hey guys, let's make them run at each other. How did we go from like these soccer moms that are like, oh my God, my boy, or my girl, you don't go up a tree, get off the tree, you might fall, you might hurt yourself too. Hey, go run at that guy.
Do you remember our discussion about toxic masculinity? I think that comes into play.
I think it's toxic stupidity.
I like that too. I like that too. But we get pressured into these things because
Yeah.
it's a distraction.
Yeah.
And so you're more concerned about how your child is fitting in socially, that you forget to think about how are they developing mentally? What
Yeah.
are they valuing? What is it that they value in life? Is it the music that they're listening to? Do they
Mhm.
believe these things to be true? Let me have conversations with your children, like just really have a conversation with them and see some of the responses you get back. And that gives you a great idea as to where your child is mentally.
And here's the thing: when you just a little professional tip from a non-parent to a parent, when you have a conversation with your kid, pretend he's not a kid. I know this is a crazy, this is a,
Yes.
pretend he's an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he is smaller, it doesn't mean he's like retarded, doesn't mean he's complete
Mm-hmm.
idiot. Yes, he's less wisdom, less experience. Yes, where I got this from is there was some people that I used to know slash hang out with, and they were like millionaires, like private jet type of people, Ferraris,
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. Then they had
Ferraris.
kids. They
Mhm.
never talked to their kids, even when they were little. It's like a kid. They always talk to them like an adult. Yes, you're smaller. Yes, you have less responsibility, but you still have responsibility. And I'm talking to you like an adult. Like it was never like, oh, you're so stupid. I gotta talk. Let me use the
Yeah.
small, simple words for you because you're an idiot, right? It was never like
I
that.
feel like children these days have a lot more well, I won't say intellect, but they have a lot more knowledge at their fingertips than we had when we were growing up. And so
Yeah.
my biggest concern is how do you combat knowledge with ignorance, in the sense of,
Ignorance from
if
who? From the
we
kid or from the parent?
no, no, no. So if my child asks me a question, Mom, what is racism? But I'm just going up the limb here. I
Uh-huh.
can't say, oh, don't worry about that. Don't, because that's me giving him ignorance. He knows about racism. I
Mhm.
need to speak to him about that with more knowledge. Not don't worry about it until you're older, So, but you have to, I don't speak to my son like he is an adult.
Yeah.
but I do speak to him as if he is mature, and he
Yeah.
is as mature as my conversation allows him to be.
If a kid asks me what a race is, or like a complicated question like that, first, I'm a huge fan of
Oh, I would love to hear your answer, Dan.
I would, it's definitions are huge. I would challenge him to, hey, let's find 3, 4, 5 different definitions from like, let's say current, 2000s, 90s, 80s, 60s, maybe like even 40s, because words do change. What is the official, where did this word come from, originated? How did it become popularized? And
Yes.
what does this word mean now? Like word nice, right? I think I talked to you, I think I told you this like in the other podcast. Word nice used to mean simple, right? So when somebody was called a nice person, they were referred to as a simpleton, simple-minded, like not very smart, not very educated, maybe a little mentally slow. Does that make sense? Oh, it's just a simpleton.
100%. Yeah.
So they were referred to as, simpleton was kind of a little addicting to say, they didn't want to like be mean to that person, but so they were called nice person because he wasn't hurting anybody, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So words have an origin, and they morph, they change throughout decades, throughout even centuries. So it's very important to understand. There's this really cool thing that I highly recommend people get into. It's collecting or buying old dictionaries. It's like, I'm telling you, it's a weird thing, but it's really awesome because you are just going to get so much knowledge. If you just get dictionary like every 25 years, right? You get a current dictionary, right? And then you can get them in hard form, like actual dictionaries if you're a book type of person, or you can get them digital and just start looking up words.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
It's, where I kind of got this is when I was studying some legal terms, and there's a dictionary called Black's Law Dictionary. Holy shit, that thing is I got a 5th edition. It goes like way back, like
really
way back, not even this century. It's like freaking amazing. Highly recommend it.
Well, Dan, I gotta get out of here, but I'll tell you this: my son right now, he's gonna hate me until he learns to love me, because it's not just about the latest games with me. It's not just about the latest rap song. It's about, what are you teaching yourself about life? And he's not always happy when I have him do the critical thinking questions and he's out of school and he's ready to go play. But I'm hoping that with some time he'll learn to appreciate it.
Well, maybe we, as I'm not one of those people, but maybe parents have, because parents see further down the road, that they have like more worry about the kid. And they want the kid to do something that kid isn't doing, because kids simply doesn't see that much further. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So maybe it's I think freedom will give an opportunity for kid to actually get that distance, to go that distance and see, hey, what's out there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. There definitely has to be a healthy balance in the way you construct and instruct a child, for sure. You can't be too smothering, because I want to keep them safe. And you can't give them free range because they don't have the mental capacity to know all the dangers. So there has to be a healthy space between giving them the space to learn and providing a shield of protection when they aren't ready for that lesson.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. It was awesome talking with you. Thanks for coming over.
This was really nice. We could probably conversate about this about 10,000 times, or
absolutely
converse about this a few times. It's always a pleasure with you, Dan, because we get into these conversations and it just keeps going. But I appreciate you asking my being here.
Yeah. Look forward to doing this with you again. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Just say less. All right. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Dan.